Okay, if you thought that the time with your friends was a little tough on your game because they had a lot of comments and corrections and found a lot of flaws, then you're really in for a tough time, because now you have to get your target audience playing, and that can be a real challenge as the game designer. That'll really make you cry in some ways. I remember some very bad tests in that sense for me. So try to get a group together that has some similarity as much as possible as your target audience. And what I want you to do is to let them play the game, and let them play without you helping them at all, or as much as you can. And the way to do it is that you invite them, you tell them they are going to try a game, and you really want their feedback. You want to know what they think of the game, and try not to influence them in any way as to feeling that they have to like your game. You have to be very neutral and say, we really like your comments on this game, because the more you kind of give the sense that you want positive feedback, the more you won't get the real answers that you need. The way to do it is to, of course, find the target audience, but also to prepare a list of what you want to observe during the game, and a list of the questions that you want to ask them afterwards. So you have to be a little bit organized around this test. And again, your questions afterwards should be very open and neutral, and not putting the answers into the mouth of your target audience. In order to really get a feeling of how the game will work, you should, as the group has been gathered, you should give them the game and say, okay, here's the game, read the rules and play the game, and then don't help them at all. And then you really get a feeling of whether they are able to use the game themselves. And that can take a lot of time, so it's a good idea to give the rules beforehand to one of the players and say, okay, you're going to play this game in 1 hour. Please read the rules, and when you get together for the test, you should explain the rules to the rest of the players. And then you will see if your rules have been interpreted right, and how they're interpreted by the target audience, and what kind of game experience it'll create for them. And that's a way to get really solid feedback on will this thing fly at all. And so you should sit back and not intervene, observe what the players do, and how do they misunderstand the game, how do they make up for their misunderstandings, how do they create meaning themselves, which players become engaged, which players don't, and who's having fun and who's not, and why, and etc. And believe me, it might not be so much fun for the players yet, so remember to thank them afterwards for their honesty and for their time. Your key decisions are who to invite, of course. The closer you can get to a target audience, the better, and perhaps a varied group within the target audience. And you should be quite keen on what is it that you're looking for during play, and what are you asking after play. And of course, the goal of it all is to know, once again, what needs to be changed in the game, what haven't we considered, what is misunderstood by the players, what doesn't work as we intended, etc. How can we make it more easy to understand this game as we intended it to? Yes.